Live here.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our June 20th press conference, and certainly glad to have you here. Well, this will be the first press conference after filing, which again, I can say clearly now that I'm definitely not running. I loved all the rumors that happened this time of year. I love the ones that said I was going to sell and move to another council seat and run for it, but there are always interesting things that happen at this time of year, but we're focused on continuing to do things for the community to make it better, and I think that's part of it. It's certainly in the next couple of months we're going to have some elections. We're going to do some things we need to do as a community, but more importantly, we need to stay focused on what we're doing and not get lost by people who want to continue to show us certain things in a sideshow. One of those, the most important one, obviously last week that happened, was we began to finally move forward on solutions for Carpenter's Creek. There have been a lot of comments about different t-shirts. I thought we ought to make one for the solutions because I think that's what we need to do and find ways to actually get things going. I think you heard a scientist come in here and talk about the dire situation, and I thought we were all together and working in that, but unfortunately we got sidetracked at those sideshows that sometimes happen. But again, I think last week they showed exactly everything that Commissioner Bender and myself and our team have been working on to try to move forward with solutions for the creek. Up until last Monday, there were still many people that seemed to think incorrectly that we had diverted, that the water from the creek had been diverted into the vortex vault. Again, we had two, not one, but two engineers come forward, one for the City of Pensacola, and say, no, that's all stuff coming up Davis Highway. And by the way, I'll get Brad to pull together a cubic feet of what we pull out. We pull it out 4 times a year. It's not our largest vault, Brad said, but it's certainly in our top 5. And that's sediment that doesn't go in there because of what the city did. At the same time, the DOT engineer came in and said, nope, all the stuff comes underneath the riprap. That's where the creek flows over. Where the creek starts at the bottom. There's about a 2.5 foot difference of elevation between us and where the outfall came in. Again, despite gravity and everything else, we continued to have some people that thought that this is what it was, and we kept trying to tell them that's not what it is. And I was glad we were able to figure that out and get that done. And now we do need to come together on a solution. And I think what was being put together is certainly there. I talked to Matt Posner last week, who believes that there is some funding at this point, some Restore Pot 2 money that could be done for the engineering work, and to go ahead and get that project finalized, because I think those of you that were here last Monday saw it's desperately needed. And again, it's something that happens not just in Pensacola. It happens all over the world. There's actually a name for it. So again, it was glad to kind of put some things together and get us refocused. The weekend was an incredible weekend. We had a lot of stuff going on, some good, some bad, but we're going to work through all of those things. It certainly was good with the activities we had with the gallery night, Juneteenth, and a lot of other celebrations. Certainly, I enjoyed our celebration with our employees. We had a great employee appreciation lunch day. David Forte and I even went down the slide together and got wet with the kids at the event. But I thought it was just a great time. We every day we come to work, we do incredible things because 800 men and women that are part of this organization, and it was great to have a day with them. I did also have the opportunity to be there Friday night. I saw the scooters, and I think one of the main things I thought that was interesting, I did see plenty of people using the scooters, not like they were supposed to, going on the sidewalk, and that was discouraging. However, what I did see is multiple people, when they got done with their scooters, bringing them to the corralled area and putting them in there and taking a picture. I did witness that firsthand, multiple different locations, which I think is one that for the next 30 days we're going to be working on and get compliance to make sure that we can get people focused on that. I think after that, when we start in July, before August, we're going to go heavy into compliance. That'll be addressing people that are riding inappropriately. Again, I think if we take 30 days to really target both of them, it's my hope by August we see that we can make inroads in getting to what we need to do. So we're going to continue to do that on scooters. Certainly the most unfortunate part of the whole weekend was the event that happened at the Pelican's Nest This area has been a troubling area for the city as we've tried to work through it multiple times. We thought we had a process with the owner there where they had security where nobody could bring weapons into the place. Obviously, I don't know what happened, and something happened. We had a shooting happen. Fortunately, no one was killed. We did have some injuries. People went to the hospital, but everyone, from what I heard over the weekend from the chief, everyone certainly was released from the hospital and making it. But clearly, this is not what we want to see happen. I know I talked to a couple of council members over the weekend. Some of them are prepared maybe to come back and forward and say that maybe we don't need bottle clubs in the city of Pensacola. If this is the behavior that we're going to get, maybe we don't need that here. So we will see where we go through the month of July, and we'll work through that. Finally, obviously, the big issue last week is the Roger Scott pools. I do want to say before doing that, I did notice that our latest director is here, our Parks and Rec director, who is officially there now, Adrian Stills. Adrian, we're very happy to have you. So glad to have you. Little golf clap there from David. So we're very glad to have you there. And pardon the pun, I know we threw you into the deep end, but we're already working on the pool issue. Clearly, Adrian produced a schedule for me that shows even at the least what we have is about 25 open slots. That's the way we thought things were operating and supposed to be. Clearly, the last 2 years we have made a concerted effort to shrink the number of people in the pool because of during COVID. We thought the communication was clearly provided that this year we were going to be going wide open, and I think we still all plan to do that, but there have been some limitations by lifeguards which have shrunk the number of occupants that were allowable. And while during COVID we certainly were trying to get the camps done, while we're not in COVID, we need to be finding ways to get open spaces. I think the best way we can do that is figure out how we can get more lifeguards in there so that we can take care of the camps and have the open spaces. As I said, the way we operated prior to COVID, there's no reason for us not to have enough open spaces, and I do believe it's right now it's probably a case of we don't have enough lifeguards. We hadn't trained lifeguards really for 2 years. I've talked a little bit to Adrian about the fact that I would love to see us after the swim season's over really maybe work some weekends to get some people, if you're interested, if you have a child, a grandchild that may be interested in getting a job next summer looking at a lifeguard. We'd love to find a way to train up some lifeguards to make sure that we have enough. Like I said, I think we, like everyone else, we went through about 2 years. We really didn't do much of that regard, so we're a little bit behind. But I think we're certainly working. I know Adrian's communicated we're trying to find a way to make sure we're fully staffed with lifeguards there, because if we are, we clearly have enough open spots. But that's what we're working toward, and we'll keep working with the YMCA to do as much as we can, however we need to do to shuffle to make sure we have those open spots available. So again, we're going to continue to work on that, and I'm very confident that Adrian, in his new position, will be able to find us solutions there. And again, he has. Now that I say this, I had a thing I was supposed to announce that you were here, but anyways, already done that. And he will be officially begin his role Friday. He has worked with the City of Pensacola since March of 2004 as the general manager of the Osceola Golf Course, and we're very happy to have Adrian here. Recycling with ECUA is temporarily on hold while they repair their facility due to repairs at the ECUA materials recycling facility. Recycling for the City of Pensacola sanitation customers is temporarily on hold. The City of Pensacola uses ECUA recycling to process our recyclables, and ECUA is not accepting recyclables at this time until they get the repair done. Your tan recycle cans will still be collected, but the materials will not be recycled. In the meantime, customers are urged to maintain positive recycling habits because we hope to be back by mid-August once ECUA is repaired back to accepting recyclables. Please stay tuned to the City of Pensacola website and Facebook page for updates. The city installs new incentives for e-scooters and the corrals. I think we touched a little bit on that. And I mean, I actually saw them being utilized. People taking pictures. It's amazing when you charge people extra, you start getting that. I think it was good. I really appreciate both VO and Bird, their willingness to come forward and do the more forced parking. If you don't park in the corrals, you will have additional money taken out, and there are certain roads like Intendencia where we don't have any sidewalk that's wide enough to take one of the scooters. If you place it there, both people have told me that they will continue. You won't be able to shut off. You'll continue to run until you hit the maximum. So again, from that standpoint, I hope people will properly park and learn exactly where to go. I think this is one behavior we can change over the next month, and then I'd really like to begin to address appropriate ridership off of the sidewalk. So that's where we plan to go over the next 2 months. Again, city monitoring Bayfront Parkway sidewalk and pedestrian traffic for FDOT program in an effort to gain understanding of local multimodal traffic. The City of Pensacola is participating with the Florida DOT non-motorized traffic monitoring program. Through this program, FDOT will loan temporary bicycle and pedestrian counters to the city twice a year for a 2-week period. Infrared cameras, bike tubes have been installed on Bayfront Parkway near the entrance of the Bay Bridge in a multi-use path. The data collected will be used for safety studies and DOT programming, facilities, pavement, and trail maintenance, and more. The city hopes to expand the number of counters and explore a partnership for continuous counter stations in the future. Lastly, I guess we will have the cleanup on next Saturday. Will be the mayor's cleanup. It will be Sanders Beach, Bayou Grove, the West Garden District on June 25th. You can go to cityofpensacola.com to check out and see what you can put on there for your materials. But that will be next weekend, and we hope to collect in those areas. Finally, we will have no press conference next week or the 4th of July. So we will go 2 weeks without a press conference. We'll see you back on Monday, July 11th. So we will look forward to seeing you back at that time. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions and anything that you might have. So yes.
Mayor, you suggested that there's been problems at the Pelican's Nest before. Can you talk about what you've heard or?
Well, we had the issue where we moved back the hours of operations for Bottles Club, so we have seen that before. We tracked a few things that happened, and I can tell you in talking with PPD, I remember when we did that presentation, there were more problems at Bedlam's Pelican's Nest prior to that event, and clearly what happened the other night, we haven't solved some of those things. So. I did have a chance to talk with a couple of council members over the weekend. It was interesting from their comments. But so I look to see some things may come up in July or August. So clearly, what we had Friday night is not what we want at all.
So you're suggesting that the council may make even more changes that could affect your hours?
I mean, I've had a council member tell me that. Yes. Yes.
Mayor, what do we know about the shooting over there the other night at Pelican's Nest?
I don't really know a lot, other than the fact that, like I said before, there were apparently 5 people that sustained injuries. None of them were life-threatening, and that's about all I know at this particular time.
You don't know how many shooters there were, or how many rounds were fired?
I do not. I mean, those are all things that you would have to get with Chief and with Mike Wood. I don't know the particulars of it more than the fact that I know that there was a shooting and there were injuries. They were not life-threatening, and this is not the first time we've had a problem at the Pelican's Nest.
And you see, this kind of violence across the country. Innocent bystanders getting hit. You know about how it's discouraging to you, or how you feel whenever you see something like that?
Again, I think there are places where innocent people are targeted. I don't think that was necessarily what was happening at this situation, but you do have violence like that, and I think there's no place for that here. And again, we've worked very hard to promote a vibrancy in our downtown, to try to address those things, and we continue to have fairly good compliance across the entire area except for one establishment. So I think we ought to look at the way that the establishment operates and what happens, and we have other places downtown that don't have this experience. So I don't think it's downtown. I don't think it's a variety of other things. I think it's clearly the way the establishment operates, and I mean those are issues. And again, there are other people who've contacted me over the weekend and just simply said they want to look into this. So I think we'll look into it. We'll investigate. Hopefully, John will know a little bit more what happened as it goes forward. But I do think there's a desire, at least from council, to make some changes.
Mayor, what authority does the city have to regulate a bottle club?
We can say we don't want bottle clubs. We have that ability.
Does the city issue a license to operate?
The city has an ability to put it in its land development code. We could just take bottle clubs right out of the land development code. I mean, if we wanted to, we have the ability to do that.
A bottle club pays a license fee to the state EPPR, perhaps?
Again, I think their liquor bottle clubs don't have a liquor license. I don't know exactly how all that works, John, and what licenses they have, but I do know we have the ability to set the uses in our own comp plan and zoning plan, and we have the ability to say we don't want those in our zoning plan. So we have the ability to do that. Case in point, I'll remind you, we used to have a rule that was against food trucks altogether, and even despite the fact that we had them operating all throughout here, and we thought maybe we ought to get consistent with our rules. So we made a rule that you could have food trucks. However, we did leave an area, we carved it out, an area that said where you couldn't have it. So clearly our ability to regulate certain uses in certain areas, even citywide, we have that capability. If the council wants to come back and do something like that, they'll have the ability to do that. We will enforce whatever rules they put forward. They put forward a rule that we used to, if you remember, we had hours of operation for bars, and then we had hours of operations for bottle clubs, and they were different. Now they're the same. So, again, I think from that standpoint, the council can set whatever rules they'll do, and we'll enforce the rules they set. Well, thank you very much. Again, we got a lot of things that are getting taken care of. We won't be back here again until the 11th of July. But until that time, we will continue to work on so many solutions for our community to make it better. That's what we continue to stay focused on. And I really think that's the most important thing we can do is continue to make the city of Pensacola better. Thank you.